Hi everybody, Courtney here, and as I promised, I was doing two reviews of two documentaries. One is a movie documentary, one is a TV show, and I did one last week, and this week I am doing How to Get Rich by Remit Sethi. I don't know if I can say his name right. Anyway, forgive me if I didn't. He has a book called I Can Teach You to Be Rich, and I believe this show is How to Get Rich, and it is on Netflix now. And to be honest, I had done a summary of his book in the past, and I have listened to him on many podcasts, and he hit me the wrong way. I've been in the simple living, kind of voluntary simplicity community for a long time, but I have actually grown to really like his philosophy. And Mr. Money Mustache was on and kind of said it's his shtick. And I kind of get that these people who are more out in the public eye kind of they have their personality, and he comes across rather arrogant, but I feel like it's just, I've learned to really like his frankness, and I think it's just that he's confident and that he's frank. I don't really think he's as arrogant as sometimes it might be perceived, and that is what turned me off in the beginning when I was hearing him on podcast. And honestly, listening to him and the guy who wrote How to Die with Zero, I kept giving them a chance over and over, because I'm going to be honest, my kind of theory has been building on generational wealth. I was very, very broke in my 20s, and my grandparents left me a little bit of money. It wasn't much. It was $14,000 per year for 4 years, which was enough to get me out of poverty and to be able to buy a house, because that first check I got, I was able to take some of that money and pay my mom out her portion of the house and take over the mortgage. So generational wealth that my grandparents left me, even though they died with $150,000 in the bank, that really, really helped me. And I was able to take over their mortgage. It was only and I don't even remember how. It was an SBA mortgage, so I'm not remembering the whole logistics of how that worked. But at any rate, that was really important to me, building generational wealth to leave to my children, especially my son that is disabled. So I kind of mentally shut down with his plan, because it seemed like it was for the wealthy. But as I gave him a chance and I started listening to both of them, I started to realize what he was saying, and it has actually helped me enjoy spending a lot more. So a lot of people who watch me are on the very frugal end, and I get that. I had to be there, and I couldn't relate to some of the people who made it from having to be frugal to being well off, but then it's very hard to change your mindset, because your frugal habits, your smart money ways got you to this point where you have money, right? And so it's really hard to change. And his kind of whole shtick is, save money where it's not that important to you and spend smartly on the things that are important to you. And what does your rich life look like? And he's not talking about having the Lamborghini or all of that. I mean, if you get to be a multimillionaire, yes, but what's important? So for me, I'm about to go see my son, and my husband and I, my donkeys, if you can hear them, they're braying. It's probably the Amazon man. They're just like their alarms for whoever drives in the driveway. Okay. So I'm about to go see my son, and he has 2 bonus children, and they're about to have a baby. And I want to go out and take them out to do whatever they want to do. And I am prepared for whatever that costs, up to maybe $400, right? So for me, that's a rich life. Now, I'm about to go to the store and look at the clearance aisles, look at what I need, comparison shop. I've gone days this week without spending. There's so many things I just don't spend money on, because I don't have a value so much in if I buy this brand of beans or that brand of beans. Those little everyday decisions add up so much that when it comes to spending $400, I have it, and I have it budgeted. And I feel like that's kind of the crux of his ideas. What does rich mean to you? If rich means you have someone clean your house, or you have someone do your yard, if those are the things you hate doing, then you have to figure out a way of how you can afford that, right? And I really like that. It's really helped me, because we went from broke single parents in a very short time to me is 10 years, to being able to afford some luxuries. And those luxuries for us look like my husband just went on a trail ride, training thing with his horse. and it was $900. And by the time he paid for his camping and all that, he spent around $1,300. Like, it was in the budget. We didn't have to put it on a credit card. It did not affect our investing. It did not affect our savings or make our net worth go down. And we can afford it. But it was really hard for me because that feels extravagant. So let's go through kind of the steps from the book, from the show, and give you a few of the takeaways. And I had to look these up because in the show, that was one of my frustrations, was like, I don't understand what his steps are, and I wanted it to be more concrete. So I had to look up the steps. The first one was optimize credit card spending. So I use credit cards, but I pay them off monthly. We use them for cashback rewards and travel rewards. I know from listening to his show, he's very big on not using them if you're in debt or if you do not have the discipline to pay them off monthly. But he himself only has a few of them, and he says it's just, he wants to keep it simple, so he only has a couple of them. He doesn't do the thing where like this Chase card is good for travel. This Discover card is good for groceries. He doesn't do all that. It's just like he has a couple of cards and he keeps it simple. He gets the bonus points, uses the cash back. So definitely optimizing credit cards if you are out of debt and you're disciplined to pay them off monthly and you have the money in the bank to pay them at any time. You're not floating the balance. The next one, number 2, was to have high interest, low maintenance bank accounts. So, and not to have, and from watching his show, not to have too many bank accounts. Some people play these little psychological tricks with themselves, that having all these bank accounts where they don't really know what's going on. So I will tell you, we have 3 businesses. So we have 3 business accounts, a savings account, a money market, and 3 CDs. And then our investments accounts are with 1 broker. If our bank gets to a point where we have more than $500,000, we would have to go to another bank to make sure we were FDIC insured. And so it's really important that if you get more than $500,000, you go to another bank and do that. I know most people are probably like rolling their eyes at me right now, but you never know. You can have these inflection points. But for the average person, you shouldn't be paying a lot of banking fees. You want to make sure that you're in a interest-bearing account once you're able to do that. At the very least, not paying a lot of fees. Number 3 was have an investment account. Here's the thing, and I tell my children this all the time. If you're buying, acrylic nails and Starbucks every day and spending money on sneakers or clothes every month, and you're not putting $50 a month away in an investment account, then there's a problem. So he recommends just starting with $50 to $100 a month in a low cost brokerage account, a Roth IRA, or if you're in a higher tax bracket, you might want to go traditional. But at any rate, and I would say watch the show, that builds the ability to learn the habit of saving. And if you have it already started, you have the habit of saving set up, and you're more likely, because it will be easier, to increase it. And you also want to make sure that if you have a 401k available, that you're putting enough in to get the match. So he recommends going with things like Vanguard, Schwab. He says Vanguard. I'm in Vanguard, but I know Schwab and Fidelity are also low-cost index fund investing. And I'm not going to get into what index funds are. If you're not sure, read The Simple Path to Wealth. But it's a very safe for the stock market way to invest long-term, and you get good returns. And it's very hard to beat the returns. If you're with a wealth manager, you're probably losing millions of dollars over your lifetime by paying the fees. The fees look like only 1% to 2%, but with compound interest, for the average person, they're spending $100,000 to $1 million, and it's eating up their profit. So please get away from those brokerage firms. It's so easy to manage yourself. Number 4 is a conscious spending plan. And for what I can see, this is the smart spending that we talk about. And I feel like, y'all, so much of what I teach on here is repetitive because, like, it's not rocket science once you figure these steps out. It's the same, just different lingo or language or semantics to teach this stuff. A conscious spending plan is smart spending. Again, where are we spending our money? And when I say budget, I do kind of a reverse budget. I have everything automated. except our electric bill, because dang, the electric company makes it a pain in the butt to set up automation in Arkansas. I have everything automated. Our IRAs are automated. All of our bills, except for the electric, are automated. And then I have a certain amount of money that goes into our account every month that's for spending. And I put everything on a credit card, and I know the max I can put on that credit card, and I check it at least 3 times a week to make sure that we're staying within our budget. And I've gotten so good at that. So I don't sit there and go like, this amount for food, this amount for clothes. I just know that basically we can spend $500 a week after. And so all of our bills are already paid. And that is after bills are paid and investments are done. Now for us, because we own businesses, what we do is we take any profit that we have, and then we put a large amount of that into our retirement account, some into investments, and some into maybe fun. We'll just put it in our savings account. And if we want to do something, that money will come out of there. So a conscious spending plan is just smart spending, understanding where your money is going, spending on things that you value. If you really value a fancy $100 dinner or $200 or $300 dinner, then put that in the budget so that you can do it, but you need to save that money somewhere else. And if you are in debt, then for a while, what you might do is when you get those inflection points of money, the bonus, the tax return, you sell something, maybe an inheritance or whatever, you're going to take a large percent of that, pay off debt, invest. And he does say invest while you're paying off debt. And I agree with that. You're just not going to invest as much because you can't gain that time back. And that's kind of goes against Dave Ramsey, but you cannot regain that time that you put into the market for compounding. If you put in $100 starting from age 20 to 30, you will be a millionaire at age 65. I believe that's right. From everything that I have looked at and heard. But then you get to what they call coast fire, financial independence, retire early. And you are so compounded at that time. You've got so much money compounding that you can even quit investing at a certain point if you choose to do that. Most people don't, but just understand you cannot regain that back. And if you are already older, start today with a small amount, even if it's $50 a month. Automate everything. And he advocates making things as easy as possible to automate, whether it's that debt payment or whatever, automating it, making sure that it's getting done. A lot of the people that he works with, it seems like they've just kind of gotten out of control. And at the end of the day, everything is kind of a mind game anyway. Money is very psychological. Money itself has no power, but the people with the money have these psychological things that come up. There was this one guy, and I can't remember, he called it something dissidence, but it's how we justify things like, well, I deserve to have this car because I have this thing and I make more money than this person. But the thing is, we don't always know someone else's situation. You could have one family making $150,000 that has no debt, no mortgage. They've paid off all their bills, and maybe they have a nicer car that's paid for, and you're over here making $150,000, but you're in debt, you have a mortgage, you're spending paycheck to paycheck, you're taking lavish vacations, and it may look like the other person is doing better than you, but they might not be. So you've got to really think about, I'm in Al-Anon, a 12-step group, and we call it stinking thinking. You got to think about your stinking thinking. And you got to quit caring what other people are doing and quit comparing yourself and stick to your plan. And the other thing that I saw a lot with him was just people understanding to have patience and enjoy your life along the way. It doesn't mean beans and rice all the time. It means finding ways to still enjoy your life while you're on the journey without going broke. And so I'm really warming up to him, so much so that I've been listening to his podcast, and I really like it. The only thing is, I would say it's not PG. He does cuss a lot, and a lot of the people on his podcast cuss a lot. So if that thing bothers you, it doesn't me. I can look past it. It's not that big of a deal to me personally. But if it does bother you, just be warned that they cuss a lot on there. So I think that there are so many good takeaways in his show that you should definitely watch it. I hope this has been helpful. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a great day.